I just wanted to do this because I didn't go out on my own terms, and now I'm gonna go out on my own terms, and I'll be happy with it.
Yeah, because that's what it is. You do it because you love the sport and you love the passion of it, and plus you want to do it your way. Now
Yeah,
everybody's going to be different. Like what Ronnie did was different compared to what you did was different. What
yeah.
Flex did was different. What Arnold did was different. What somebody like, if you look at any competitor who got in this sport, they did it because they want to do it their way, and
Absolutely.
along the way, they inspire people, you
Yep.
know, who feel like, you know what, this is somebody, even like right, he said like no one's paid, but really, Ronnie Coleman, his memes and stuff are out there. It's really, he's growing as a legend in the last few years. Yes, he might regret the things he did, but you know what, he accepted those things because the
Here's the
fact
thing
was
that people have to
he,
understand about Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman, when he went to the police force, he for one was the rookie of the year his first year. He's a double major in economics and finance, if I want to say. The dude is super smart. Don't let his fucking voice and the way he talks fool you, because this dude is worth millions. Because he was a smart guy. He was a smart
He's just
business guy as well as a bodybuilder, and his brand is still thriving. His brand thrives more overseas than it is here. But who gives a shit when you're still making money? Not a lot of bodybuilders are making money. You know, so
it's just that Texas talk. That's all it is. I know about that Texas talk Ronnie
hmm
does. But no, but what I say is that I am never going to discredit his achievements, Ronnie Coleman, or anything. What I said is there's a lot of risks to do what you do and everything, but is it worth it? Because at the end of the day, like I told George before you got on, I was like, no one's seen you guys in the gym hitting all those weights. What people go to do to see the bodybuilders, they see a flexing. Now, if it's a powerlifting competition, I get it, but it's still kind of risky. You get what I'm saying? But no one's there. The only one that's there seeing you, him lifting to almost 2,300 pounds and leg press and everything are, his gym buddies. That's it. There's no Ronnie Coleman fans going to the gym and saying, "Oh, wow, look at that's amazing." There's barely any video on YouTube of that. You know what I'm saying? Because all this stuff happened during the mid 2000s or early 2000s, so there's not really that much footage of it. So that's why it's kind of hard to say, "Oh, that he inspired me to do that." The only people that knows that is Yuki, George, and KL. That we've seen it, but everybody else hasn't seen it because again, there wasn't a lot of enough people videotaping it and everything. And some people might be like, "Yo, that's cool," but I can't go that hard.
here's the question. So, are you saying that it was more for cosmetic reasons that he was doing that versus him trying to grow? I remember seeing Ronnie Coleman's legs for the first time in North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, and he shook it. It was like a goddamn sequoia tree. And this when I first got into bodybuilding, and I was like, "That's not normal." Well, it's not normal because not every guy is leg pressing 2,300 pounds, and he's not doing it for ego. He's doing it for fucking reps. He's doing it to grow. I asked Chad Nichols about who was Ronnie's trainer for years. I said, What's the difference between Ronnie Coleman and everybody else? Ronnie Coleman just listened and pushed himself as hard as he could on his own recognizance. A lot of people don't train with Charles Glass because Charles Glass is a technician of training people. So it's a science. It's a certain way of he has you train. It's harder, isometric, and people don't want that. They just want to do their own things. So as Rashi is saying that to me, as I'm saying, as a bodybuilder, you have to understand my job is to go into the gym and just push my body as hard as I can, weight wise, but training smart, not to get hurt, because that's the only way I'm going to grow. Guys are not getting smaller in this sport; they're getting bigger. Physique guys are getting bigger. Classic physique guys are getting bigger. Men's bodybuilding guys are getting bigger. So that's the evolution of our sport. It's just like football, baseball, hockey, basketball. The sport has evolutionized to get bigger, stronger, faster. That's just the way the world of sports works. And so we have no choice but to, I asked Dexter a long time ago. I said, Dexter, how did you compete for? I mean, he think he retired when he was 52 on the top of his game with the most wins in bodybuilding. He says, I just, I got to a point where I trained smarter. And I was like, what? He goes, my body's maxed out, so I just train smarter. And that's a lot of people that you see, even in the gym where I go to, I see all these people lifting this weight, and then I look at him and I go, "You look no fucking different." So how about cut the weight in half and do proper reps and proper weight, and maybe you'll start seeing some results. But again, that's what people see instead of understanding the science that goes behind what we do is lift heavy, but smart, not to wreck your body. Listen to your body, but that's not what people see. They and again, I know I brought that up right by saying 2,300 pounds, but he wanted to do 2,300 pounds. There's not very many people on this earth that can do that shit. Ronnie Coleman can, And the problem I think with him is when he got hurt, he would come back too soon and get hurt again. Come back too soon, pop a screw out of I can't imagine the back fusion I went through a year and a half ago. I can't. He's went through that shit like 2 or 3 times. I can't imagine going through that again ever. So I have to sit here and say, when my body gets to a certain point, like last week, I just had a back ablation where they burn the nerves in my back, burn the nerves so that I don't feel anything, but it's not doing any damage because my SI joints. You just have to be really smart about what you're doing and how you train. And I see a chiropractor, I see a massage therapist, I see my doctors on a regular basis. So you just have to be smart about how you train. I don't think it's a thing where you got ego lifters, and you're right, Raheem. You do got ego lifters, but you got guys like me, like Samson, like a lot of guys are just training to get bigger because everybody else is getting bigger. So we have no choice. So I don't think it's an ego thing. I think it's part of our business and what we do.
Well, Keith, I also live myself, and I'm planning next year to do supplement because my doctor told me. So I told my doctor that I'm getting married this August, and me and my girl about to make baby. He said, "Well, don't do that yet. Don't do the supplements yet." He said next year. So I mean, I live as well, but I know when my body says to me, "Hey, enough is enough." Like I said, I'm not. This is me coming at a out of love for the sport and for Mr. Coleman. It's not me getting on him. It's just that, like I said, you know, dude, no one's there to see you, and you already Mr. Olympia. You kicking ass. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, I gotta prove something. But he loves what he's doing. That's great. And at the end of the day, I'm sorry, there's a train behind me. I'm just getting out of store. And at the end of the day, this sport has no health insurance. That's why this is what me getting more mad about. It's like, okay, if it had health insurance, risk it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you could be like, hey, my medical insurance can take care of the back surgery, the leg surgery, all that stuff. But when you don't have that, you have to put a pause on lifting the 2300, the 800. You get what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not saying that you can do it. It's saying, oh shit, I'm in a sport that has no insurance. So that means if I fuck up my legs or I fuck up my back, guess what? I have to come out of pocket.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
You're
That's what I'm
right.
saying to any female, any bodybuilder, male or female. You're in a sport that has no benefits. There's no retirement funds, nothing. So why risk all that stuff? You're already risking stuff as it is, but
Well,
why risk that? That's all I'm
you know,
saying.
and here's the thing: Jason who beat me at USA's many years ago, he retired from bodybuilding. I remember. Oh, we actually the last time we competed, we were in Tampa, and he had this big beard. I think Jason's all of 5'8", maybe 5'7", big old beard, bald head, and I was like, dude, you gotta, because they were talking about bodybuilders having facial hair at the time, and how it was distracting and taken away. And Jason looked at me and says, look, if I can't win with it, I can't win without it. And he goes, because if I cut my beard off and I lose, what was it for? The moral of the story is that Jason came out with a story and said he was done bodybuilding because he was done the sport using him up. And he started his own business in Florida, a supplement business, very successful. And he goes, I need to be here for my family, not here for the NPC or the IFBB because they can give two shits about us. And he's right. They don't care about us. Because if that, I mean, and it's hard for an industry like this to carry insurance like my insurance, the NFLPA, because we get drug tested in the NFL, NBA. What was the guy who, for I want to say Milwaukee, just got suspended for to the end of the season for Toradol or some medication that his buddy gave him. It's a painkiller. But we get tested. Unlike this sport that doesn't test because where's everybody wants to see the biggest, baddest dudes on stage. That's why Ronnie and those guys in the '90s were insane because it was those Sean Ray. Those guys were insane because they were just big and everything else. The sport wants to see that, and so the IFBB is not ever going to back down on sitting there saying, "Well, we're going to test for gear," or "Well, we're going to test for this," because that's not the name of the game in this sport. Not not where the big boys play at anyway. So, everybody has their opinion. Like I said, I came on here like, should I be the one that's talking? Because I'm one of those guys, who is, last week I had a back blade. A couple weeks ago I had a back ablation. Then I had some Uflex knee injections. Trying to keep Humpty Dumpty together for the next couple years. So I'm like, am I the right person that should be asking this question to? But I also understand that once I get to a point where my body can't take it anymore, I'm done. You know, I'm done. I've got what I've needed out of the
Yeah.
sport. The sport has got what they needed out of me. I've done very well for myself, so I don't live on the grounds of having to compete, to make a living. Let's just say that. And a lot of other
Yeah.
bodybuilders like Juan Morel, Kai Green. There's a lot of other people who have uh, Dana Lynn Bailey who have stepped back and understand the business mantra for themselves is not through bodybuilding. And again, I will always quote Kai on saying this: use the sport for what you can get out of the sport, not what the sport can get out of you. And now Kai is worth millions of dollars, and that dude was homeless, because he understood, after doing Generation Iron, the shoes, competing, the movies, and all this other stuff, there was more to it than just bodybuilding. And I get it. I understand.
Where you mentioned Kai Green. I saw this. I don't know if I shared it with you that he might be making his return. As you know, he hadn't competed for almost maybe about 15 years or more. Last time
Yeah,
competed
and here's the thing about that. I wouldn't. Here's the thing. Kai Green left on his own recognizance. He didn't leave because he was getting beat. He was facing second to field, and I think that was the frustration that he didn't think that they were ever going to live. And the thing that sucks is when Phil retired, and I think when he retired, Kai had stepped away. He did step away, and then Sean won. And it would have been interesting to see if Sean wouldn't have walked away if Kai could have beat Sean. So I think that Kai, who's on a completely different level than me, feels that he may have something in the tank. I don't know if it's the Mr. Olympia, but I know it'll fare better than when Kevin came back and when Flex came back. This guy's just a different dude. So I think he's just training hard, eating right, and if he wanted to go back to the stage, I wouldn't bet against him. I'll put it that way. Because he wasn't hurt or
I'm
injured when
putting,
he was competing. He was healthy. So
yeah,
he just walked away because I always tell people if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And if, he started his own supplement company, then he got rid of it. Then he went with, Aaron Singerman and all these guys. Kais is making really smart and great moves, and he understands the dynamics of the sport and what it entails. And so, I ain't mad at him. I love Kai. So, I think he's one of the smartest, creative guys I know when it comes to taking advantage of everything that you can possibly take advantage of in the sport. And he did.
yeah, yeah. Here's a little video. He's about to deadlift, and then he's looking at a muffin, and then he he decided to go for the muffin. But yeah, from like I said, when I talk to y'all, especially that's why I enjoyed to have you on, brother. Because you give me a perspective that I am an outsider. I'm a guy who follows the sport, excuse me, who does interviews and talk to particularly the ladies. And I really want to understand what really motivates you and different conversations because they enjoy it. They understand there's a lot of risk to anything. But here's the thing is, there's no reward without risk. If you're not
Yeah.
willing to put yourself out there and take that chance, you don't get anything out of it. And then you sit there, then you're gonna have regrets that you didn't do what you did. I mean, just sometimes I regret I should have did something, I should have did this in my life. And then now I'm sitting back older, so you know what? I regret why I didn't do it.
Here's the
But I
thing, and we
understand now.
and we talked
Go ahead.
about this a couple weeks ago when the Weeder brothers came here and had the idea to do what they not even the bodybuilding shows. They went from the bodybuilding shows, but they want to open a gym, and every bank in the world laughed at them. Here's the thing: look at our world we live in now. How many gyms are in the city you live in? a lot, probably, But in the
Well, not
world,
my
the
city.
gyms are in the world, the gyms are everywhere, and these guys were laughing at these guys and their vision, And that's the crazy thing is that, there's a lot of things that people like. I mean, just think if they wouldn't have did it. Just think if they would have like, okay, this is a stupid idea. Let's go back. That guy who created Amazon. All these, every idea that we have to do or want to do or something is it starts with us. It starts with an idea. So you either you either do it or you don't do it. If you either want to compete or you don't want to compete. I tell my clients that that is a personal decision on them. If they want to walk away and don't want to compete anymore, that's fine. They tried it, they liked it. I've ran into a couple guys the last couple days at my gym who are about to do a natural show, and it's amazing how much knowledge these people don't have. Like I'm gonna do a show. Well, my dad's gonna help me do it, but he's a power lifter, so he's had me up doing eating a lot of protein just to bulk up. And I'm like, oh Lord, I'm listening. I'm like, that spells disaster all over it. But again, it's one of these things that, and it's sad because these kids out there that Raheem was right. We see the I seen we can see Ronnie, but these kids, and it's not about the reckless aspect of it. It's about how to train right, and it's about how to do. There's so many people. I'm like, you want to watch me train? You want to watch me work out? There's probably 100 YouTube videos out there on YouTube of me. This group, Big Keith Williams, backflip. Big Keith Williams, this. Big Keith Williams, that. I mean, we shot a lot of videos on muscular development. We shot a lot of videos with Flex Magazine. We shot a lot of videos with Stand and Flex. We shot a lot of videos. So if you go there, so I tell people, if you don't want to hire me, you can always go look at my videos and watch what I do. I'm not talking about anything. I'm just training, but I watch a lot of videos. I get a lot of my creative ideas for myself in my training, watching Samson train, watching certain guys do certain things to give me different ideas, even though I know so much, But again, I told somebody yesterday, I said, I even have a coach in Melanie Specco because I have to have a subjective point of view when I prep. I can't. I can prep myself. I've tried it and it was okay, but it's not the same as having a coach sitting there and looking at you and be like, "No, we're gonna do this." It's kind of like Sam Sim and his wife. Everybody's giving her so much shit, but that dude is the best bodybuilder on the planet because he trusts this one person that knows his body, and that's his wife. And it's just like Melanie. She knows me and Tina inside and out. So I trust her. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying with the same person. And the end result is the end result. So when it comes to training, I always tell people I see a lot of people train in the gym and they look the same. And I said if that was me, I would be super frustrated because what aren't I doing right? Am I not training right? Am I not eating right? It's something within that equation of what you're doing that's not working for you, and you got to figure it out. And some people just don't. I said, even when I'm trying to learn how to cook something, I go to YouTube. Seriously, I made some chicken noodle soup. I made some new rib flavor, all off of YouTube, and it's been great. So I always tell people, knowledge is power, and the smartest guy in the room is always going to ask the most questions. And like you said, and you said it best about 5 minutes ago. You said, you know things that the rest of us don't know. So to get a better understanding of how this sport really works inside and out, I'm going to ask somebody who's in the sport. And that's the smartest guy in the room because you're asking questions. Dave Palumbo, Charles Glass, Flex Wheeler, Stan Efferding will tell you one thing about me. I ask a lot of questions. I listen and I own the shit that I'm taught. Some is good, some is bad, but I own it. And that's where I'm at, where I am today. Especially when I didn't even start playing sports to high school. So I had to be that person who had to choose to listen, to be coachable in order for me to be successful. If you're not coachable, you're never going to be successful. Not in this
Yeah.
sport, not in any sport I've ever competed in. So that's the bottom line. And when people talk about me, they're like, he's the most coachable person I know just because I didn't know shit about this sport. I didn't know anything. Diet, nutrition, nothing. I didn't know anything. When I started playing football, I didn't know how to hold on to a football, this and other. I played, but in on the streets with my buddies. But once I got to the high school program, it's people trying to strip the ball out of your hand, trying to do different things. So I had to reprogram my mind and reprocess my body to learn the things that I need to learn in order to be where I'm at today.
Yeah.
Simple.
Asking all the questions, asking all the questions, asking all the questions. A fool. Yeah. I saw that. I was like, last week I saw that video. But yeah, I understand, why you are, what motivates you into it, and what motivates any of your competitors in it. And sometimes I really, I admire your commitment, your passion, your um discipline. It's me. I'm not too disciplined. But a while back, a lady I interviewed, she made an announcement. And I want to give her a shout here. That's Lisa Segay. She is a figure competitor from Australia. I interviewed a while back. She made her debut as a pro last year. She did Triple O and also did another show after that. Great lady. We keep in contact. And she made an announcement. Here we got a comment from Raheem. Yeah, shout out to man Raheem. He says this. He says, Keith is the man. Thank you.
No, that's you, dog. I'm just
He
in the
says,
world.
he said, had to get
You
on
know
the
what I'm saying?
train. He says, yeah. But he says, but this foot was on the line with Berwick. Okay, yeah, okay. But anyway, I'll pull this video that she posted, and I'll give a shout out to Lisa. She runs her own podcast, which is the GoFundMe podcast. No, Go Figure podcast, with her friend and partner, Rose Black. And, she's a trainer, mom. Her son also has he has a pacemaker. And that really goes close home to me. Bitch should be a person with a pacemaker. And she made this announcement, and, I posted it and shared it on my social media. So here's the video. I'm going to run it.
I've been involved in the bodybuilding industry for 25 years. I am passionate about it. I am passionate about women in our sport, and I'm passionate about making and creating opportunities for women in our sport. So I have dedicated a lot of my life not just to being an athlete, but to sponsoring various shows, supporting all federations, especially in Australia, because we are quite small. And in terms of professional opportunities in this country, we're quite limited in regards to, if you're a pro athlete. And it's something that I'm going to continue to pursue, and I've got lots of exciting opportunities that are coming up in that space where I'm going to be really focusing on the Go Figure Academy, which has multiple arms to support all federations in creating funding, sponsorship, coaching, and posing excellence in their respective federations. Now, being a professional athlete myself with the IFBB Pro League, it's a challenging and very difficult decision to have to choose between your livelihood and your passion and your coaching or being a professional athlete in bodybuilding, whether it's the IFBB or NABA or ICN or PMBA or AMB. As a professional athlete, 95% of us are never going to make any money. Essentially, we are paying for a membership to have a platform to compete on. And that's the reality. I've been doing it for 25 years. And, yes, I've won some checks last year. I've been very fortunate to place in my debut year as a professional. And, even as an amateur, I might have received a few checks here or there. But when I'm in a position where I need to choose between my livelihood, putting food on the table for my son, who's my world, and making the right decisions, not necessarily the easy decisions, it has led me to this point today. And this point that I'm at right now is actually, it's nervous. It's a little bit sad. But I understand that it's the right decision for me to make. And that decision is actually stepping back as a professional athlete from the IFBB Pro League. I was going to retire this year. This year was going to be my last year competing. and I wanted to get on the stage just one more time, as and have the opportunity to compete at the Masters Olympia. Now, the last 4 weeks has me been really going, why am I doing this? And I felt myself, I submitted my application, I put it in, and there was this little bit inside of me, something just wasn't feeling right. I just didn't have that drive. I didn't have that passion behind it. And I found when I sat with myself and I was like down at the beach, and I kind of came to the realization that I was making a decision based on the wrong decision. And it was coming from a space of ego, a place of needing to gratify. And then I was wrapping it up saying, I'm doing it for my son. But the truth is that Kai has seen me compete. He has seen me win. He has seen me lose, and lose gracefully. And he has seen me win and win humbly. And so for me, that was a big part of my why. That was a big part of my why. Last year, he got to see me win as a professional athlete on an international stage, place against Olympians. And it was a wonderful opportunity. And that was a real why, because I want Kai to grow up, to know that when he puts his mind to something, he can achieve anything that he wants. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to cry. And this little kid, he's the apple of my life. And it was in that moment that I realized that part of being a great example as a parent is also making tough decisions and tough choices. So whilst my 25-year career as a bodybuilder is coming to an end, my focus and my passion now is on 2 prominent arms, and that first arm is really growing and supporting all women in bodybuilding and creating a platform for them where they can create excellence in their craft, and support federations in Australia to be able to accrue more funding for sponsorships, prize money, and things like that. So this next generation of athletes, and especially in our country, in Australia, do have something that they can work towards. Not just the trophy, but they get to be the athlete. They get to compete as the athlete. So there are a couple of separate arms in that business, which this is not what the podcast is about. I should say this is not what today's announcement is about. But I realised that that's what I'm really passionate about. So that's one part. And the second part is my kid's 10 this year. Kai, for those that know, is has had a really hard start to his life. He was born without a heart. He's had several open heart surgeries, and he has been so patient and so amazing in me pursuing my bodybuilding career, traveling overseas with me and going to all the shows and all the workshops, and just an absolute freaking champion. And I want to be able to spend more of my quality time with him. Like, he's 10 now. In 8 years' time, he's going to be 18. I've got 8 summers left with him. And so that was another part of my decision. I have a vision for women in bodybuilding. I have a vision that I want to create. And I'm not going to be able to create that vision where there is opportunities for this next generation under the Pro League banner, and certainly not as an active pro athlete, which is why I'm actually renouncing my pro card in this podcast. So that was hard. I said it. Now, what does that mean moving forward? Like I said, I will be supporting all federations and promoting all federations, both here in Australia and overseas. Does it mean that I'm never going to compete again? Highly likely, but there might be one show left. Again, I am indecisive about that. And the reason for that is my focus right now is on my son and spending more time with him and growing and building and evolving the Go Figure Academy. And like I said, there'll be other posts where I'll be making separate announcements to that. And I just feel as though now was the right time. You know, sometimes life throws you some curveballs and you're left making a decision that is well and truly outside of your control. And while I was down at the beach yesterday, yet again.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to go through all of it because it's really heartwarming what she's doing right now, stepping away from something she loved for the last 27 years. I know she's a nice lady. You know, like I said, we still talk now and then. She trains other competitors. She also runs her own podcast. It's been mentioned before. It's a pretty good podcast. She recently just did an interview with former women's physique champion Shanique Grant, who's now switching over to wellness, making a wellness debut this year. And also she's Mrs. Trescott, who also is making a switch over to figure. Here it is, these folks, these folks, bringing my brothers here. We have him, my man KL the Wonders came back. He's popped back in. Hey, brother, and also my man Big Keith, he's here, and appreciate that. Before we start this, I have to talk to KL for a bit.
What you gonna talk to me about?
What
you gonna talk to me?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm a Scorpio, and we sometimes are kind of possessive, jealous. We're mental cases. We're seen as more like psychos. I admit it. I am a psychopath in some ways. Especially when I use a guy like the Joker as a moniker. My man KL was at the OCB show. Yay! He did an OCB show yesterday, and he posted some lives. He had a good time. He enjoyed himself. Then I see this on his in his stories.
Yeah.
And this little young lady is what? That's Michelle Moon Johnson. I just interviewed Michelle a couple of months ago. And
you look good together.
Yeah. I'm like wondering, so what you do up with my girl, man? I mean,
I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. She asked me. We was talking. I didn't do nothing. I didn't ask her for a picture. She volunteered to want to do a picture. And I said, okay, I'm not going to refuse. You got all of you get all the women. And you interview all these women. I can't even get a time of day with most of the women that you interview. Now, when I go to a show and I see somebody that you have interviewed, probably have, and I had some interest not a bit, but I had some interest. I approached the young lady and I said, hey, how are you? You Michelle Moon, aren't you? She said, yeah. And then we started talking. I seen you on my friend's All the Race George Page interview. It was good. Then she enjoyed it. She I think she took the picture because she was like she appreciated me, approaching her and stuff. So it's the end of the story. It's not like it ain't that deep. I said we were sitting a little bit. We talked. I got up and went to another seat. That's it. Nothing like ain't no intimacy, no head over heels, sexy love type of shit. going on, nothing like that. Get over it, man. Like, come on, bro.
Kale,
It
you ain't
doesn't
gotta
matter.
justify it to us, bro. We love you. You ain't gotta
It
justify shit
doesn't.
to us.
It doesn't matter. There was an interview. You were near her. You were touching her. You were
So
talking to
what?
her.
Hey,
I
It
ain't
doesn't
touch her.
matter
I didn't
about this
touch her.
hey,
stuff.
Kate, I'm still hearing the same shit about Andrea, and I'm at working out in the same gym as her.
But he
Wife are
lenient with
crazy.
you. He
Huh?
lenient with you though. He not gonna mess with you on that. He not gonna mess with you.
Hey,
I
and I
let
took
it
the
go.
pic. Hey, KL, and I took the picture for him, not even me.
Oh,
I
what?
got.
What?
Hey, you see
Oh,
my wife?
what?
Hey, you see my wife? You think I got a goddamn
What?
death wish? Are you nuts?
What? For me? Oh, thanks, brother. No, I thought you know what, you, David, Jared, y'all on my hit list right now. But like I said, I'm
He
at
had
home.
somebody flex. He had this lady I wanted to talk with for a while. I didn't get no play, and she was flex. She did a crab pose right in front of him. She was flexing right in front of him and stuff. I was like, damn, get out of here. Like, oh, wow.
Hey, quit playing victim.
Her.
Yeah, big bro, quit
Who
playing
me?
victim. Yeah,
Who
yeah.
me? Who
He
me?
had
I
somebody
said
flexing in front of him.
Oh man, that's why I love you guys.
Well, my man Raheem, I think he gets me. He understands what I'm thinking. He says, Kale, you should have said to her, I know you are tired because you've been running through my mind all
Oh
day. Hey
Lord.
yo, hey
Hey,
yo, hey
hey,
yo, don't be giving no ideas.
hey, you know what? That's sad about that, Raheem. That's a line to a guy that's engaged. That's the last thing I would say to a chick. She'd be like, "Oh, really? That's what you gonna say to me? You done blew it." She gonna walk
That,
away and say some shit like that.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like my feet. It's like my feet sometimes, Raheem. That's corny. The guy like corny. Also,
Other
this
than that,
is from he says George just holler at her, man, cause Jesus Christ, whatever. But anyway, we're like I said, we'll let that go. I'm just touching your balls, Kale. You know I am. Just
okay.
touching your balls. I'm just, but as you know, I was watching. This is Elisa's, comment. Yeah, it is about this. It's important to find what you want out of this life, especially out of this sport. To go do something, outside of it if you can. And like we saw Kai Green think about returning. He said he hadn't really retired. And Lisa mentioned that she might even come back. Maybe she might try to do one more show. And that's the thing is, sometimes we see this because you're seeing when Tom Brady retired, he came back for one more time. Or when
Michael
who
Jordan.
else?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, he came back one more time. You know, it's like any athlete. Sometimes you just can't just simply walk away, and then you have that calling and that need, maybe something to fulfill something, just because you love the sport.
You ever seen this lady that was talking compete, George?
Oh, you mean Lisa? Yeah, interview Lisa.
Oh yeah, I know you did, but I just said for curious, you ever seen her compete?
Yeah, she did the Triple O Dynasty last year,
Oh,
and I seen
okay.
her. Yeah, I reached out a little bit right after the show, and we got to talk after her last show that was in Georgia because she's still in the States, so we were able to talk. Here, this is from man KL. He says, yeah, no, not KL. I mean, Raheem. He says, give me a second. He says, this is about swag. That's all. Okay, and also he says this. He says, Tom Brady came back and his wife left him. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Like I remember it was like South Park was doing these like little skits. So it's like, I'm Tom Brady, and I'm gonna retire and go home to my hot ass wife that looks like a dude.
Who makes more money than his ass too? Shit.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, here he goes. He like he just talking shit. He says, corny George, what lines do you have? Like I, hey dude, I got some classics. Says, hey, are you from
I ain't gonna
Tennessee?
lie, that wasn't the greatest line, but you know.
Yeah, yeah. Are you from Tennessee? Because you're only 10. I see. You
Oh
know.
Lord. How about just don't say nothing?
Like just like simply say like just step up to lady and say, hey, excuse me, man, is your husband married? So, But yeah, that's that. Hey, I know.
Oh
Yeah,
Lord.
I had fun with these. We had a good time. We talked and discussions. But like anybody who gets in the sport, is the risk often worth the reward of it? And she mentioned, she was lucky here and there, get some places, and then make some money out of it. And now I think, just like Kai and Dalen Bailey or any competitor who left the sport for their reasons, now she's found something else. Now she's going to coach and train with people, start her own business. Also, Australia is a very, it's a very kind of gated community as it comes to bodybuilding. There's only a handful of bodybuilders that, if you know, like people like Bear Francis, Lee Priest, Christine some couple here or there that were top level competitors back in the day, and or also in other countries where it's really stretching. There's opportunities there. It's a sport where if you maybe not a competitor, you can work behind the scenes, a coach, a promoter,
Well, and I
trainers.
and I think what you say the lady name who was retired, Lisa.
Lisa Sagan.
So Lisa's smart because she understands this. She wants, if you listen to her words, she says, "I want to support the other organizations besides the NPC and IFBB." By her renouncing her pro card, what she's doing is she understands that we can't just go out to the OBC show. We can't go out to NAMBF show. We can't go out because the NPC is the NPC for us, and IFBB is IFBB. When we break that code, it becomes a problem. And I told you guys last year, the guy who had an Olympia qualification, who was seen at a different show or something, lost his qualification. There's so much control over us when it comes to the IFBB, and I look at the IFBB as a USOC. I watched this documentary where this guy had all these stickers on him, was running, had all these stickers on him, and because the USOC wasn't getting paid for it, that he couldn't wear them. Well, he's like, well, this is how I'm making money because you guys are not paying me money. You guys pay for my training, my food, this, that, and other. I get it. I was at the Olympic Center in San Diego in '96, but that only carries so much weight. So in order for us to make residual income, he had all these stickers on them for all these different companies running, and they told me how to take them off. I remember getting ready for the Olympic trials in '96 in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was sponsored by Nike at the time. And we had to go through this gate, and they I don't know, somebody must have got a phone call from NBC because there's like Nike athletes have all this Nike stuff, and our logos are huge and everything else. So as we're going through the warm up area to check in, they automatically said we're allowed to show 3 logos, and then they put tape on all the other logos because what they realized is that Nike was getting free advertisement out of all the shit that we were wearing. And so NBC said when they come through this gate, they get to choose. I think one was my singlet, my shoes, and something else. But everything else they taped up because to the USOC and to the IFBB and to the NPC, it's about coin. You know, they're going to get paid first, and they always get paid first before the athlete. And that's just the way it is, and that's the way it's always been. But again, she's saying what she's doing is so she can broaden her horizon, not just help NPC or IFBB athletes, but other federations that are struggling too. And I think that's super cool because you can't do it
Yeah, that's good
being
because
tied down to the IFBB or NPC. Well, more so the IFBB because she's a pro than the NPC because they will blackball your ass.
Mm.
yeah, because like that is a good thing for what she's doing, and you know what? If things settle when she ever wants to come back, she says she might have one more show in her. That's her option. If not, she's now going on doing something else that really satisfies her life, her career. Like I said, she has a son. He's 10 years old. He's like I said again. He's dealing with heart. He has a pacemaker like I do, and
Mm.
she wants to spend more time with him, but also to grow her business and her brand, like how Kai did, how
Dana.
David Lynn did, a lot of these competitors who walked away from all the Schwartz is a good example. That also, how he, left bodybuilding and
I
now
mean,
he's
hey, another guy who I keep forgetting of who did really well, opened up a restaurant in New York in you guys' hometown, Juan Morel. Him and his wife designed those cookies, those monster cookies, and they got these bodybuilding cookies, and Juan trains out of Steve's gym out there, and so I knew it was about to be this big idea because they had this cookie called the monster cookie or something. It's like walking instant diabetes to me, but they have all these different flavors. But when the next time I went to the Olympia in Orlando, the last time it was there, they were one of the main sponsors. Do you know how much money you have to be one of the main sponsors? So Juan has now